All right, what's going on, you guys? Nick here with Nick Strength and Pokemon, and in this video, I want to talk about the price history and the price trajectory of one of the fastest selling and fastest appreciating products in Pokemon, and that is the Pokemon XY Evolutions Booster Box. At the time that I'm recording this video, the last sold Evolutions Booster Box sold for $1,049. This is a set that just came out a mere 5 years ago in 2016 for the celebration of the 20th anniversary of Pokemon. Here we are in 2021 about to celebrate the 25th anniversary of Pokemon. Just later on this week, coincidentally, Logan Paul's next opening is the same night as that 20th anniversary. So I want to show you guys some pricing data on XY Evolutions and why I think right now is probably your best time and probably your last opportunity to buy at a really good price or a decent price. And I think Evolutions, if I were you guys, I would say the safest bet for entering Pokemon collecting or investing right now would be the Evolutions Booster Box. That is where my primary Pokemon investment lies, and that is about where I would tell you guys if I were a financial advisor, but I'm not, so just take this all with a grain of salt. If I were a first-time buyer to buy a Pokemon product, I would buy Evolutions. So let's look at this pricing data here. So this is a pretty interesting graph. This is on StockX.com. They're a pretty good website for collectibles that shows you a lot of pricing data and history on just collectibles like shoes, trading cards, different things. It treats them like a stock market app would. It shows you some data that you otherwise wouldn't get from eBay or any other seller. So this is the chart. I believe this is the 1 year history. Maybe this is 6 months. 12-month history of the Evolutions Booster Box. So the important things that I want you guys to see, let's look at pre-October. Pre-October, so September of 2020, Evolutions Booster Boxes were selling for in the hundreds of dollars. Keep in mind, this is less than just 1 year ago. Last year in 2020, we were averaging around the $150 mark. Now, Friday, October 9th, the Evolutions Booster Box spiked from that $150, $130 baseline all the way up to $250. Now, what happened on October 9th? That was the day that Logan Paul did his Pokemon live stream. That was the day he did that box break. So let's look at the data after October 9th. So this spike directly correlates with Logan Paul's first Pokemon opening. And that's a pretty substantial spike. The price almost doubled. So it kind of held there for a couple days, and that's when I bought my first box of Evolutions, was right after Logan Paul's live stream. Like a lot of people did, you found out that Charizard that Logan Paul pulled, there's a reprint in Evolutions. You found that out. You can't afford a base set pack. You can't afford a base set box, just like I can't. So Evolutions was the next best thing. So a lot of people went out that next day and bought that set. So let's look at the trajectory over time. In about a month's time, less than a month, towards the end of October, we had prices spiking for Evolutions at $623 a box. So now we're at 600% appreciation here in just a couple months' time. Less than a month. That's how much the price increased. So it kind of held for a while through the holidays, which was surprising to me, around the $500 mark. So even though it peaked at $600, I was buying a lot of boxes in the $400 to $500 range throughout November and December. Me and my buddies were buying boxes and packs and opening, and it stayed in that range for a couple of months. And as you see, we get through December, January, it held pretty steady at 500, and then it just kind of took off out of nowhere in January, a constant climb, 700, 800. Then it got to the $1,000 mark, which is insane. $1,000 just months from that baseline of 130 bucks. So it's up 1,000% in a matter of months. And what was the main catalyst for all this? Again, go back to that initial spike, October 9th. Logan Paul's opening was the catalyst for all this growth that we're seeing here. Now, it could have been sustained over time for a number of reasons, but the main catalyst was that Logan Paul opening on October 9th. And look at these prices go up, and they've been holding pretty steady around the $1,000 range, in some cases spiking over $1,000. My most recent purchase was about $1,000 per. I bought a whole case of Evolutions. So even all that pricing data considered, you got to look at the volume purchased as well. So the average sale price was $740. So even though back at these early prices, it was only that amount, it was only $200, $400, the average sale ended up being $740, at least on this website, I believe. This data is specifically from StockX. So 664 sales with an average sale price of $740. So pretty interesting stuff right there. So what I'm looking for is Logan Paul's next opening on the 27th. I think we're going to see another huge spike, and that's going to set off another wave of new interest in the hobby because Logan Paul reaches a very large audience, and he's opening the same set that he opened back in October, the same set with that same Charizard, the same base set nostalgia. So I think the new people that he's going to bring in, it's going to have the same effect as last time. They're going to say, okay, that was cool, that was nostalgic, that was fun. How can I get this same feeling, but for a price that I can afford? And they will all discover evolutions like many of us already have if you're watching this video. So let's look at something else here. The price history of the most valuable card in this set, and that being the Charizard card. So this is the price. I believe this is the price for a PSA graded. Yeah, this is a graded Charizard. So the holo rare Charizard, the Charizard that looks like the Charizard that Logan Paul pulled. So with this set coming out in 2016, all throughout this time from 2016 to 2019, a PSA 10 was going for pretty much in the $200 range, sometimes creeping up on $300. But it was around a $300 card max up until 2020. 2020, we see a pretty significant spike. I don't know what the spike was back in June, but it went up to $1,200 in June. It dipped and went back up to almost $2,000 in August. Now, look at this massive spike here. So this spike begins just after Logan's opening, October 12th. So his opening was the 9th. The graded 10 in that card was $2,200. Now, keep in mind, Evolutions is an extremely difficult set to grade, and the Charizard card is an extremely difficult card to grade. I believe there's thousands and thousands of PSA 9s of that Charizard and a very few number of 10s, so it's exceptionally hard to get a 10, which is part of why the value is so great for this card. But look at this spike from $2,275 on October 12th. That bad boy goes up to $6,000 right here by October 28th. So by the end of the month, it appreciates nearly 3 times. It dips a little bit. It goes back up. So the peak up here, I'm trying to get to. So the peak, the highest point in November, that card sold for $7,500. From, keep in mind, just a couple years ago, the baseline of this card was $200 to $300, in some cases getting close to $400. Just a couple months ago, $7,500. So the appreciation rate of these cards is going way, way, way up. And it's going up at a very exponential rate. So, again, I believe the catalyst for this was mostly the Logan Paul opening. You can see that price has taken a dip in recent months. But I think it's going to go back on that upward trajectory. It looks like the most recent sale, February 4th, $5,300. So it's still a $5,000 card, which is insane. I mean, these numbers are pretty crazy for a set that's only 5 years old, and that's what I want to talk about here. Is the main enemy of appreciation for Evolutions would be if we got a reprint of the Evolution set. Now, we did get the Kanto Power Boxes earlier this year, or maybe it was towards the end of 2020, and people thought that was going to plummet the price of Evolution. So those Kanto Power Boxes came out with 10 packs of Evolutions, and that was around the same time that Evolutions was hanging in about $500. So if anything, it stunted the growth for a tiny amount of time, having a new introduction of Evolutions packs. It stayed around that $500 range, didn't dip, and still ended up skyrocketing past $1,000, even though we got new Evolutions products. So I'm not really afraid of an Evolutions reprint at this point. I don't think they're going to do that. I don't think they're going to go that far back to the XY era and reprint those packs. So I think Evolutions is only going to continue to get scarcer and scarcer. And the other thing to consider about the Logan Paul effect here is the box break YouTube, Instagram culture around buying these boxes. So the idea is that the scarcity of a sealed box is increasing. So you might not see the scarcity of a Charizard of this card increase at the same rate as the scarcity of a box, because people are cracking these boxes for Instagram and for YouTube because they saw Logan Paul do it. So not only are people buying these boxes, but they're buying them with the purpose of opening them. So as a result, the number of sealed boxes out there is getting fewer and fewer, faster and faster, because there's not a whole lot of people just buying these to stuff in their collection and never open and to hold on to for 10 years. A lot of people are buying these boxes to open them immediately. So the sealed product, the availability of the sealed product is going to go down at a tremendously exponential rate. And I think at Logan Paul's next opening in February, so the end of this week, I think people are going to do this same thing. This same Logan Paul effect will happen. People will want base set. People will want Charizard. And people will also want to do box breaks on their YouTube channel, just like Logan Paul's. And they want a similar box break to Logan. They'll buy an Evolutions box, crack it on their channel. That's one less box available that they can buy on eBay. That's one less sealed box that's out there. And I honestly believe the Evolutions booster box in the next couple of months will hit the $2,000 price range per box. I would say before summer. I would say before spring is over, we see Evolutions. This is just my prediction. Do with it what you will. Don't make any investments based on this prediction. But I would predict that we see Evolutions booster boxes hit the $2,000 price point by the summertime. I wouldn't be surprised if by the 30th anniversary of Pokemon, we see Evolutions creeping up on $10,000 a box. That might seem insane right now, but you know what else seems insane? A box that was $130 less than a year ago is over $1,000 right now. So by the 10-year anniversary, the 30th anniversary, that will be the 10-year anniversary of the Evolution set. So in the short term, a short-term 5-year investment in Evolution. Let's say you buy Evolutions right now at $1,000 per box. Just a spitball here. In 5 years, at the 10-year anniversary of Evolutions, the 30-year anniversary of Pokemon, do you think there's any possibility that the Evolutions booster box, the price will be under $1,000 in 5 years' time? Or do you think that price will have doubled, tripled, or even be close to $10,000? Which do you think is more likely based on the price trajectory that we've seen so far? I mean, look at even the price here of a loose Charizard card. So this pricing is for non-graded, just a card from a pack of Evolutions. September of 2020, this card was going for $26 a card. Sure enough, you get to October, and here comes the boom. $28, and then it's off to the moon. $103, and it's been hanging around that $100 mark ever since. Personally, I haven't seen this card sell for in the 60s. I don't know if this is entirely accurate. This might be just sales on this website. Actually, it's looking right now on eBay. Yeah, right now on eBay, there's listings 120, 150. I don't know if this includes the reverse holo prices. I've seen a lot of the reverses sell for 60, 70 bucks. But again, you can see that clear skyrocket to the moon after Logan Paul's opening. You go from a $28 baseline all the way up to $103 before the end of October. I mean, it's madness what we're seeing happening with these Logan Paul box breaks. And the thing is, this isn't the end of it. You've got several more coming. He's got 6 total base set booster boxes. His goal was to buy them all. Every base set, every first edition base set booster box on the market. And he wants to do that to continue opening these boxes and having the biggest Pokemon events on YouTube. So let's say the price spikes after this opening. It continues to stay on that upward trajectory. He opens another one 3 months from now, and then another one, and then another one. We have these spikes and these gradual increases, or even if they hold and then spike. I don't see these prices going down in between Logan Paul openings, with buyers knowing that Logan Paul has another opening coming and knowing what that opening means for the prices. I think these prices will continue to go through the roof, and I'm here for it. Evolutions is what I'm investing most of my Pokemon funds in. I've got 2 cases right now, and I'm putting them in my gigantic Fort Knox safe. So they're probably never going to come out of there unless I'm doing an opening on this channel. But Evolutions right now, my advice, and again, I'm not a financial advisor, but as a fan of Pokemon, as a observer of what I'm seeing with these trends, I think Evolutions is going to the moon. I think it's going nowhere but up. And I think buying it around this $1,000 mark is going to be one of your last chances to get it for a reasonably attainable price. Once it starts creeping past $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, you're not going to be able to buy cases of this stuff. You're not going to be able to buy a bulk quantity of this stuff. The average buyer is not going to be able to afford $15,000 for a case of these. They might be able to afford $5,000 or $6,000 for a whole case. But once it gets to that $15,000, $20,000 a case, it becomes out of reach to most people. So my advice, buy some Evolutions. If you're a fan of Pokemon, just Not investment advice, but if you're a fan of Pokemon, I would buy some evolutions. I think the price is going up. So let me know if you enjoyed this style of video. Please give it a thumbs up if you did. Please subscribe to this channel if you have not subscribed already. As always, I love you guys. Appreciate you guys. Nick Strength and Pokemon is signing out.